Welcome back to Less Than Geek. My name is Travis.
And I, Peyton.
And this is our coverage from the Atlanta X-Wing Regional that was held at FCB Comics and Games on May the 30th. This is the top 8 elimination round. Over on the right, we have James with a double IG list that was doing very well on the day. He's playing IG B and C, so he's got the Gunner one and the free evade when you boost one. They both have auto thrusters and advanced sensors, heavy laser cannon, the title obviously. One has veteran instincts and one has stay on target, so I think he's at 99 points. And then on the left, what's this list over here?
It's pretty simple, but extremely common. 4 Bs and 1 Z, just standard. I want all the stats.
Right. So we have Jarrod on the left. James is one of the local players for this, where this tournament was. He was in the final of their store championship tournament that they were streaming. They were streaming this event too, of course, but they kind of kicked off the tournament season back, I think maybe like the first week of January. They were streaming a store championship that had like 35 people. Pretty good turnout for a store championship.
Yeah, it's most people's
right. And
regionals.
So he was in the finals and ended up getting runner-up in that tournament as well. For this tournament, we had 94 players to start the day, I believe, including some players that had been to Worlds and things like that. We had the 2012 world champion Doug Kinney in there, and just had a good turnout. Crazy good turnout. They didn't cap this one, unlike a lot of the other regionals are capping at 64 just for having the table space for all the people. They had rented out an empty space next door to have some extra room.
You actually had to play to get the Boba Fett card.
Yeah. This they ran a good event. We had fun, but unfortunately there was no AC. We're using fans everywhere. By now, when this happened, it was later and most people had cleared out, so it wasn't that bad. But earlier on in the day, it was pretty rough. And since you had to actually play to get the Boba Fett, we nicknamed it the Sweat for Fett tournament.
Atlanta in the summer,
Hot Atlanta, man. You know what though? It just comes with the territory. You just gotta play through it. So
it's like, let's stand outside in the sun because it is in fact colder out there.
Right. It was actually, and standing out in the shade under the awning or whatever felt better, just because you didn't have so many people in the room. So we had I think 11 players total that had one loss or better. There's one undefeated, and then so a few players that had one loss missed the cut. One of them had a modified win, so that pretty much hoses you right there.
Yeah.
And then there were 2 that had 5 full wins, but just not enough MOV, which is I guess unfortunate for them. But
it's going to be the same thing in nationals.
Oh yeah.
Just with, it's the same cut.
Right.
But even more players. So
probably, yeah.
If you're going there and you want to get to the top 16, you better
have some MOV.
Yeah, better get that 200 point, or don't lose it all.
So he's doing some advanced sensor boosting here, and then just doing 1 straight though. I guess that's a good way. You put in the 1 straight, so then if they come blitzing at you, you can just go nice and slow, and then if they don't really go that fast, you're like, okay, I'll also boost.
Well, that one Z is kind of far out forward. You're kind of like, well, maybe I can snag that Z on the next round before all the other Bs come in.
Yeah, the Z is hanging out there a little bit. There's some debris mixed in here with the asteroids. It's a little hard to see on the art of the playmat there. The one that's right next to the IG there is really tough to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Z is just venturing out. I mean, the Z is basically supposed to be used as a blocker anyway, but you need the B-wings to be close enough to capitalize on that.
Yeah, or if anything's going to get shot at, you want the Z to get shot at.
Yeah, that too, probably.
I mean, if nothing else, it has more agility.
Right. Yeah, and with these IGs, with like fire control systems and stuff, they're really good. Basically, in like the 2-ship meta, you know, dealing with like a mirror match or dealing with, you know, the big turreted ships, decimators, Soontir, you know, whatever, something like that, where there's only a couple targets they ever have to shoot. So once they get that fire control, that target lock on there, they just always have a target lock, and it helps them out a lot on their accuracy, especially since they tend to evade so much, either by just doing it, you know, when they've got the shots coming, or by doing the boost. So they don't have a focus a whole lot of the time, you know, if they're like this where they don't have push to limit. Yeah. So, you know, they really need that to kind of actually add some teeth to all those dice they're throwing. And then when you fight against a list like this, if he has to, you know, as things get messy and turned around later, if he kind of has to switch targets a lot, that fire control's not going to be doing as much if he's just spreading damage out on different B-wings and stuff. Because the other thing is, like, they're almost never going to evade, you know, the first time you shoot at them, so that you go, okay, immediately fire control gunner you know, so it's like you switch to one, you're going to shoot it, you're probably, you know, you're going to roll like 2 hits if you have nothing to modify it, and, you know, 1 or 2 hits is going to go through, and you're going to put a fire control there, and then you better be shooting the same one next time instead of switching around, or you're not going to kill them very quickly. And the longer you let all these ships stay on the table, you're running that risk of getting caught in traffic, or one blocks you, and then all of a sudden a bunch of B-wings pound these things when they don't have their tokens or auto thrusters, and, you know, those green dice fail you, they can actually go down pretty quick.
Still very wary of not taking a focus. Just, you're like, oh, you got auto thrusters, you don't really need to focus until you roll the, you know, triple eyeball and take a bunch of damage.
Right. That can happen. So it looks like or maybe having a shot there, or not? Was he out?
It looks like.
Yeah, I thought they had range on that Z with that one. Yeah, here we go. Oh, right. He's rolling the dice in a arena thing that we can't see.
Yeah, but, you know, it's still like range 3 through a rock.
Yeah, he's got the extra green there for the rock. Asteroid.
Yeah. Humongous space potato.
Right. So, yeah, I think the Z ends up taking, between both of these shots, I think you basically get that situation, kind of what I was talking about, although I was talking more about the B-Wings, but where I think he ends up landing 1 hit on the Z for each one, so that, you know, he only does 2 damage, spends 2 HLC shots, doesn't even kill, you know, a friggin' Z95, but, you know, it takes 1 damage from each, so it doesn't trigger the gunner.
But he's also not, like, dealing damage back to him, which is kind of a problem, because there's no way one Z95 is gonna range 3 deal damage to an IG-8.
Pretty much, yeah. You would have to roll like 4 eyeballs here to even take just 1 damage.
Yeah. So, oh, you have a token? Well, I don't even know why I'm rolling here.
Yeah. Well, on the next round though, you know, they're going to be a lot closer. That the outside IG.
He's got that rock to contend with.
Yeah, he's got the rock to contend with for hard turning away from them, and then otherwise he's kind of looking to almost bank right into all of them, which is not good. And then the right one is going to have trouble going around that rock and still keeping arc to shoot.
He might be able to boost past that. The rock, you know, advanced sensors boost past it, and then maybe a 4K you might be able to land.
Yeah. And then probably take him over the debris, which would be annoying to be double stressed, but doable. Might be able to do an advanced sensors boost and then do like a hard turn back to the left around it or something.
Yeah, but it's one of those hard things like, well, you don't actually know if you can boost or not. So if you can't, then you have to have, you know, like some sort of,
I guess if he puts in like a hard 1,
inertial damper or something.
Yeah, if he puts in the hard 1 and like moves the outside IG first, then he can always go with that and then maybe boost back or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of rough. Z is not afraid of the rock, getting right up behind it. I guess if the left IG there tries to just do a big bank turn around, Z might be in his way already. And I guess the Bs are all just going to bank in.
I don't know, like, I don't really like the Z positioning because, like, well, you can't block with it. I mean, they're not going to be there. That would be I guess the IG would have to do some sort of forward maneuver, which is probably not advisable.
Z's an okay blocker just because obviously it's cheap and
I'm just saying not in this
you don't
position.
give up that much. Yeah, I just mean in general, but this is the kind of problem it has compared to, like, if that's a TIE fighter or something and it's able to barrel roll, it can get in a much better position to block with.
Shoot and block.
If it's an A-wing and, you could have, instead of doing a hard turn, you could have done a bank and then, boosted, maybe boost bank the other way or whatever, or 5 straight in a boost bank. You have, those other ships are a lot better at doing that. Obviously you're not going to see them as much, but.
I mean, I assume that he's assuming that IG-8 is going to just do some sort of hard turn. Just to avoid that rock. So he's going to get a nice, possibly range 1, maybe range 2 shot.
Yeah, now, it's interesting that he banked in with all these because, I guess it makes sense, you could kind of see that coming, but it was that left IG was one that is looking like he was almost just heading straight into these things. And if the right one pulls a hard turn to the right and then just kind of boosts away, and just kind of does a feint and just pieces out, and then the other one can get around these things, it could be pretty dirty.
Or even just like engine boosts, advanced sensors, and then do an S loop.
Right. Yeah.
He'll probably get out of all the arcs of those, or at least the ranges of those Bs, and just have this Z again.
Now,
he might land on the debris, but
for what it's worth, stay on target is on the. Obviously that one has to move first because the other one has veteran instincts.
Yep.
Stay on target is on the gunner IG, and so veteran instincts is on the free evade when you boost. So this one's the gunner one over here.
Now you would think that the stay on target would be pretty useful in this matchup.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like that's. I really wonder how much use he got out of that card just all day or whatever. I feel like a lot of the matchups he probably didn't use it at all, or it just would have been better to be something else. But this, this is like the one matchup where it would be, it would be pretty helpful for this matchup more than basically any other matchup.
It's like, what would be more useful what was more useful on this day, stay on target or ham sandwich? Because something tells me a ham sandwich might have been more useful. I think at one point, at some point during this game, he mentions that, like, maybe he only ever uses stay on target once.
Yeah, and if you're gonna use it, you're gonna use it in this game, this matchup.
But even then, I think, like I said, I think he doesn't really use it because he kind of knows where he's gonna go anyways. It's B-wings. You kind of know where they can go.
Yeah. So I guess at least we can see the. I don't know. As soon as I was saying it, moved it away. Yeah. We could see the dice arena. We should have made him keep that in the frame. Next time we got to remember that.
Yeah. But he did what I always hate with my my IG builds. It's like, well, I'm gonna range 1 this B. Oh, I did 1 damage and he didn't evade it. So guess what? I deal 1 damage.
That's what I was talking about though. Like if you're having to switch targets, and it shooted a fresh one, and then they have basically no green dice. So if you only roll like 1 hit. If you're shooting at another IG or something and they just accidentally roll an evade on 3 dice and then you get to target lock gunner them, or an interceptor or something. But these things, it's like, oh, there's no, they're not that likely to accidentally roll 1 evade or whatever. If you roll 2 hits, it's getting through. So
yeah, he's got advanced sensors, so he could just FTL every turn, but he doesn't have push, but he could target lock every turn. Especially for the ones that aren't going to get shot at.
Right.
The one that's going to be only getting range 3 by that Z, I would have just taken a target lock. Because what's the Z going to do?
Yeah, well, he boosted with him, though. So, like, if he didn't do the target lock, he would have been a lot closer and getting shot by all of them. It still probably would be... like, that B would probably be range 2 to it, and the rest would probably be range 3.
Yeah.
But that could still add up. With no defense, just the auto thrusters or whatever. Okay, but as it stands, he's got one range 3 shot with auto thrusters through a rock with an evade token. Just
vomit.
Forget about it.
Pitcher.
Yep. Yeah, that B's not going to have a shot now. So, yeah, that was a good move on his part. I haven't watched this. I watched the game a little bit live. I haven't, watched the footage here to kind of know what he's going to do. But, he did do the hard one and peace out, like I was saying.
It's like
we're on the same wavelength there.
I mean, at the end of that round, there was only 2 damage dealt. One was to an IG and one was to a B. So
yeah.
If just looking at that, you're like, wow, that's a terrible position to be in if you're the IG8 player. Mm-hmm. You're like, I should be tearing through these Bs.
Yeah, I mean, he still did the right thing. You only take the one, whatever. What are you gonna do? But obviously, like we said, it was unfortunate. The firing at the B. I think the one that's huddled up with the B wings there is probably just gonna do a regular 4K turn.
Yeah, but that is dangerous because if all those Bs just do 2Ks, then suddenly you're getting whomped on by 4 Bs with no tokens.
That could be.
Or I guess you get one, you got advanced sensor, but.
Yeah, I feel like that one's gonna do that, and then the other one's either gonna do the same thing or S loop of some sort. Yeah, just kind of 6-1 while you have does another down there. There's so much room.
Yeah, man, he could really haul tail and do it.
Yeah, he could
boost for.
He could 4K. Just maybe K turn the one down by the B wings and then have this one just lead him on a goose chase through the asteroids.
And just hope he can start actually dealing damage.
Yeah, I mean, on this turn, if you K turn, it still moves you way down there. It's about the same, especially if you do like an advanced sensor boost or something. But then, of course, you have to be coming right back towards them on the following turns.
Yeah.
So that Z is just kind of sneaking through. We're going right around the asteroid.
Mm-hmm. Now he's got to go around a debris field.
Yeah. That one he's probably going over, but he's probably like, I don't care. Okay, B's banking. Well, they are going after this one. They're not pulling the mass 2K.
I mean, it is pretty risky. Just rip a bunch of 2Ks. Maybe he wants to, start lacing some target locks here.
Mm-hmm. Well, he did have a few. On the previous round, it looked like he put a lot of them down.
Yeah.
That's something that's really big in this matchup with the Bs. It's like you got to be pretty aggressive with doing that instead of just focusing, because a lot of rounds those Bs aren't going to have shots. The things that here come the Ks. The IGs or whatever just going to outrange them. So then it's better to have the target lock for the future when you can have focus and target lock. And then the other thing is they can only shoot at like 1 or 2 of your Bs if you've got 4 of them, and you've only got 1 green die, so the one you shoot at, the focus isn't really that great for defense, so they might as well just haul target lock. It's like you don't know which one they're going to go for.
Yeah, I kind of get that same strategy with like Z swarms, either small Z swarms. Like people always ask me, he's like, what do you normally prefer, target lock or focus? I'm like, if one of them is range 2 and the rest are range 3, those range 3s are all target locks and the range 2 is focus.
Yeah, because you pretty much know they're going to shoot that guy, yeah. But yeah, especially again with these higher pilot skill ships that can move a lot in arc dodge, it's like they're going to be gone. So
it's a guessing game, and if you guess wrong, so I'll just assume that wasn't a 1 straight, and it was in fact advanced sensors 4K turn.
I wonder. I'm curious why that one B-wing didn't join in the party. Maybe he thought it was going to hit the rock, but there's definitely room there.
I don't know. Maybe he thought he'd get away the other one.
Maybe he's trying to like hedge his bets. But yeah, this is a really tough matchup, I think, for the Bs. It's like you kind of have to just gamble and hope it works.
Well, I mean, even if he had landed on the rock, who cares? He was not going to be in range.
Yeah.
Because that's way more than range 3.
Yeah, so he did do the 4K on that one, but since they turned around, he did the boost, like we were saying, just to try to
drop to the range 3 and make it basically impossible to hit.
Yeah, a bunch of no action auto thrusters, and all that one has an old target lock, but it's probably, I think it might be on the other one.
Yeah. And I certainly would not suggest wasting it on this shot.
Yeah, can't really tell which one it's on. The other one, that was interesting too. I mean, the other one had so many options.
Yeah, he could have left or right. Whatever.
Yeah, so he went with basically the goose chase option and going this way.
I mean, for all we know, he stayed on target that.
Yeah,
because I mean it's just red.
I think he boosted after it though. I didn't see exactly, but I think he instead of advanced sensors, it might have been the other way though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he did a hard turn and he doesn't have a stress, so I think he just had it locked in. Oh, and is that no? That's actually stay on target's on the other one anyway, because that's the other one was moving first. It's on the one that's up here by the bees.
I would forget all the time if I was
right
at one VI.
Yeah, asymmetrical. Yeah,
especially after
I can only remember it just because like I said the one that obviously has VI obviously has to move second.
Yeah, it's just like 6 rounds.
But if it wasn't that, if it was like one has lone wolf and one has outmaneuver or something, like where they're the same pilot skill, I'd be like, oh god, be forgetting which one.
I think I saw a build similar to that.
I think
tournament.
one. I think
at least outmaneuver.
I think one of the ones in the top 8. So we had 3 double IG lists in the top 8. I think one of them had like outmaneuver and lone wolf.
Well, I know at least 2 other builds that just missed top 8 by 1 game.
Mm-hmm.
There were quite a few running around.
Oh yeah. There were quite a few. Yeah, there were at least 6 total. There was also I played against a like the IGB paired with Boba Fett, like one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest of our top 8, obviously we had the 4 Bs and the Z here, the 3 IG pairs, and then the other 4 players. There's a Chernu Soontir, and then there was a Decimator Phantom that was like Whisper and Kingkirk, I think, and then what was that, 6? There was a like a Fat Han with 3 Zs in there, and then there was a Chewy Corn.
Mm-hmm.
That build was card for card what one of our local players, Gage, we had for his store championship build from one of our old videos. If you go back and look at that, yeah, card for card, that was the guy that went 6-0 in Swiss and was the top seed. Just different player obviously, but same build.
I mean, it goes to show that more simplified builds, just like my ship's gonna move straight and blow the crap out of you. They're good for these longer tournaments. I mean, it's harder to get fatigued if you're not, got to plan all these ridiculous advanced sensor boosting, or don't do it because I needed to be here instead of there.
That is true. Yeah, maybe more forgiving.
I wonder if he sent those other 2 at the bottom right IG just to keep him honest.
Maybe.
So he's not
so he doesn't just cut back in and flank him.
Yeah, he's not going to be like, oh, I'm just going to hard 2 and then boost directly into your. Just gun him down from behind.
Yeah, and the Z was kind of committed to going that way anyway.
Yeah, he
wasn't really turning back around.
Yeah, especially with the going through the the space debris, he's going to get that stress.
Yeah. So he probably felt like, well, I might as well send him some help so that because maybe that'll do something. Oh man, looks like he's just barely going to be able to just bank in and boost away.
Zipping through.
Yep. And that looks like 1 B-Wing will still get a good shot on him, but that's it. The other 2 are out.
But he only really gets, kind of a lackluster shot of that Z that he hasn't really dealt that much damage to.
Yeah.
Through the debris as well.
I mean, it is still an HLC. The problem is, that one is the only one, I think, that shot something else and switched its target lock.
Well, it doesn't
since the Z. Oh yeah, right. Sorry. I'm so used to playing against the ones with fire control system. I'm like, where are the target locks? Right. Okay. So that whole discussion I had earlier is
just the general discussion about target lock.
But yeah, you do obviously see that on these a lot. So that it was hold weight there. Advanced sensors is good too. It gives you obviously a lot more options. The maneuvering, when you combine it with.
Well, especially if he's
boosting,
playing stay on target.
Stay on target works well. It synergizes with it. You can. Obviously do the action before you're going to do a red. So,
I mean, it's good on them just, in general.
They do have tons of greens, yeah.
Tons of greens, and they love to S-loop or K-turn.
Yeah. Yeah, so every time you do that, you at least get a focus or evade or whatever. And then there's always the dreaded, bank boost plus S-loop to, do this massive wide 90-degree, K-turn even without having that particular IG. There were a couple IG lists that didn't do so well too. I want to say there were a total of, say, about 10 IG lists, which I know sounds like a ton, and it is a pretty good amount. But you had 94 people, so that's still only about 10%. But there was I think there was one that seemed like a pretty traditional build, but only won one game or something. Maybe the guy might have dropped after a couple games, just assuming he was out or whatever. And then so if he played all the way through, he might have won another one or whatever anyway. And then there was one, I think there was one that, I don't know, it was a just newer player or whatever. They used the IGA that recovers shields. It's kind of the weakest one by a long shot, and they didn't do very well.
I can say I don't recall seeing any of the exact same build.
Yeah.
There's a lot of maybe one of their IGs was exactly the same as someone else's, but both together.
Yeah, they almost all were B and C together, and then maybe some different upgrades. Again, James here chose the advanced sensors. A lot of people chose fire control. You got HLC. Some people have manglers, especially if they spent more points on the other upgrades or whatever. People had a little more of an initiative bid here or there. You got, like we said, there's some. I saw total. I think there were 7 different elite pilot cards on aggressors there. So you have veteran instinct, stay on target, predator on some that had advanced sensors and whatever.
Yeah.
So they didn't have the fire control. Outmaneuver, lone wolf, push the limit, and there was a 7th one and I'm just blanking on, but it was ridiculous. And that wasn't even. The determination wasn't even one of them. Richard Sue played one at the Team Covenant regional or whatever, the top 4 of the Omaha one.
Mm-hmm.
So
this was an interesting Iggy build because it doesn't have any illicit upgrades.
Oh yeah. I felt like something was missing there. Yeah, because
normally somebody sneaks in.
Yeah, so spending the extra point or whatever on advanced sensors as opposed to fire control, but still keeping the HLCs. And then also spending another point or 2 or whatever on stay on target instead of VI. That adds up. So, usually there's inertial dampeners in there. Or, I've seen feedback array as maybe sort of they were afraid of soon tier, something.
Definitely saw that.
I've seen hot shot blaster. Inertial dampener is probably better. I mean, if you think about it, inertial dampener is going to give you another shot anyway, generally.
My problem is if you're going to be hot shot blastering, it's normally against an interceptor who's got auto thrusters. Yeah. So you're probably not gonna deal damage anyway.
Yeah, hot shot's not as good as it seems, especially as it's the most expensive one too. So it's if you inertial dampeners, you're usually going to get a shot you weren't going to get. If you're going to move and turret with anyway.
Yeah.
And now with these things, it's definitely better compared to if you just were picking one or the other on a fire spray or something, because you've got that HLC. So if you get that extra shot, you're throwing 4 dice. With the granted, you're gonna be stressed. You could have an action with the hot shot, I guess. But with the dampeners, you're basically getting a 4-die attack. If you weren't already stressed, you could advance sensors to have an action. And if you were playing a fire control build, you might have that. You might have an old target lock to go with it. So I don't know. Plus, there's so many situations where it's so useful for you blocking somebody or just. You avoiding getting shot. A hot shot blaster doesn't help you not get shot.
I mean, I love blocking my own ship because I advance sensors and then ram into the back of it and go.
Yeah, it's pretty nice if they're together.
Yep.
Yeah, and front one maybe dampeners and the other one.
There's several times where I stop my own ship from running into a rock.
Yeah.
It's I'm going to make you turn a little bit because you still turn a little bit. running into your own guys.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll allow me for the next turn to have a better angle.
Right.
Avoid the rock better.
So yeah, the IGs are continuing to do a good job of just not getting that focus fire on them.
But they're also not getting shots very much.
Yeah.
You gotta. It's a trade-off, but it's probably better in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, eventually the red dice are going to work out for him when he's throwing 4-die attacks. Every time you pick off, it may take a little while, but once you pick off a ship or two, now it just becomes infinitely easier to move around. That everyone's like exponentially easier. The space it opens up,
He's actually got a lot of maneuver options on this round for that top one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that Z ended up. He ended up taking another hit on that long shot through the debris, so that it's like flying around with 1 health. So that one, yeah, is probably not long for this world.
But again, unless that other top IG turns into him, it's not going to get shot at.
Yeah. I'm just saying, next time, it comes around that maybe it is kind of in the way or a problem, you can just pop it and move through it. Yeah. That top one probably fit with a 4K.
I'm almost thinking
boost straight and then
boost and then
sloop turn. Yeah.
Yeah, right in
looks
between.
like what he's doing.
Right in between those two.
Yeah.
Nope, he's just doing a small.
Okay.
He's doing double ones.
Yeah. The old peace out.
Yeah, you take out the ships that are trailing your other.
Yeah, he'll get that kill shot on the Z that we were talking about. This other one looks like it might just 4K.
Or they might just be switching partners. He's gonna go fight those
other ones,
the other bees.
Yeah, I guess he's trying to figure out. Yeah, that's the 4K. So target lock, advanced sensor room, blast them. And I don't think those bees way down there are gonna have range on that one.
It's just the hope that next round that they'll have shots. I mean, they target locked up because they kind of knew that there was pretty low chance they're actually
things are running away.
Yeah.
Okay, so we probably got a range 1 shot here. Now, what's nice about this with the HLC is so if he just whiffs on this shot somehow, granted he's got target lock and all, it's probably not gonna happen, and it's against a B. But if somehow he whiffs, so he can't gunner the B because it's at range 1 and you can't HLC, but you don't have to target the same target. You can switch targets.
Yep.
As long as you have something that's eligible. So if you do a range 1 primary that whiffs, you can do IG B's gunner type ability with the HLC on another target that is at range 2 or 3, essentially behind the thing you were shooting at range 1. So then he could use him to take a pot shot of the Z. But yeah, he gets some damage through on the B because it was 4 dice with target lock. So
yeah, it's a B.
But yeah, for what it's worth. Yeah, and then meanwhile, this one will just blast the Z.
Yeah, he clips the B for 2.
Yeah, so
it's really only
I think that's the only damage on a B so far.
One took 1. But
yeah,
it's nowhere close to killing it.
Yeah, he's just chipped off a little bit here and there. So it only took 4 heavy laser cannon shots to take out that Z95. You can't ask for much more than that out of that thing. That's brutal.
Yeah. It's like he was there to buy time, and he bought quite a lot.
Time was on sale. It was on clearance. He's buying in bulk. So I guess this is the range 1. We're back at him.
Yeah.
Yep. Target lock. It is on the right one at least. That's nice. God, all 4 dice. That sucks. The red dice just seem like they're pretty bad all around in this game.
That's true. I mean, you kind of see it coming when you have no focus. And you're like, well, I'm probably just going to re-roll these 4 eyeballs into 4 more eyeballs.
Right.
And say, wow, that was great. To put a positive spin on it, you should always say, well, even if I hit, he probably would have evaded all
right.
of it. Even a natural 3 evades, and I wouldn't have done anything.
I'm surprised this one has arc.
It's the top one. Yeah. Clipping the tail.
Yeah, it looked like it was
checking the rest.
There's range 3 though, and auto thrusters, whatever. Because he's got an evade token he didn't spend, so I'm assuming that didn't do anything.
Yeah. You didn't even have to use a token.
Mm-hmm.
The demoralization has begun.
Yeah, these things do that to you. So the top IG can just kind of come down here behind the bottom B. That IG on the bottom looks like all you can really do is just kind of book it around the bend there, around the debris token that you can barely see.
Yeah, just continue to wail on that B that's already been softened up by the last round.
Yeah.
Now the other IG, I guess, is you probably gonna try just a straight 3.
Yeah, I think the bottom one should probably do like a straight 3, and then maybe a boost bank around the debris or whatever, just around the corner.
And luckily, since all those are stressed from the K turns, they're not going to be catching up anytime soon.
Yeah, top one just kind of wants to run down towards this B wing, try to get away from the back B wings and just blow this one away. I mean, he's still not going to kill it, but put a good hit on it. Yeah, but I guess his other option is hard turning to that top IG's left and doing another just kind of juke maneuver and going. He can send them both around on the opposite corners at the same time.
Yeah.
That probably wouldn't be that bad either. Because, you kind of figure these B-Wings, just like they're doing, they're going to be facing that spot in between them and they're trying to cover the bottom guy.
They only got so many positions they can even get to.
Yeah. He could also even do an S-loop, landing basically right in front of where he's standing.
Yeah.
And then just charge straight back in that way, but that might be sending them head on into all of them, which might get bad.
Well, that's one of those things you're like, should I really risk it? I mean, my guys are pretty healthy.
Yeah.
I haven't really taken that much damage, just a shield there, a shield there. So can I just headlong into him and try to finish him off quick? Or do I just play, just let this slowly work out in my favor? Because, I mean, it's top 8, it's elimination. You don't want to be willy-nilly with your extremely expensive IGs.
Yeah, I mean, if that thing does like a too hard to the left and then just runs around the corner, that's got to be frustrating for him. Well, he went with the
sloop.
The sloop, yeah. I guess he took the target lock because he thought he might still have arc. Yeah, I guess he does. And he should be hopefully out of range of the rest of them.
Oh yeah, maybe one range 3, but again, it's range 3. So.
All right. Yep. Looks like a 3 there. So he clears that. Moves around the corner. Oh, the IGs.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a chance that the bottom B could have blocked him if he had done some other maneuver.
Yeah, if he went a little slower, but I guess, it's a B. It was near the edge. You kind of had to figure it was 2K.
Yeah. And it also gives him a shot.
And there wasn't really any reason to go slow, though. With the other ones chasing you, there was no reason to do that. That bottom B, maybe instead of K turning, if he had done it too hard towards where that bottom IG is now, to block like the 3 straight, you might have kept them right in the. I think you might have gotten some shots on him with the other ones.
It's possible, but
I mean, it still would have been just a couple like range 3s or whatever. But
through a rock, I don't.
Yeah, it would have been kind of rough, but yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing because he would have all the green dice and auto thrusters, but no tokens. So
it's better than his current shot, which is just here's some blank.
Yeah,
here's some hot blank at you, and that was the only shot around because
the arc went off. Yeah. Back 2 dials.
Yeah. Again, it's just like, all right, I killed your 1Z. Now you have to kill one of my IGs or I win automatically.
That is a lot tougher. I mean, killing that Z was kind of a tall order, but not as bad as these. So, luckily for him, the lower pilot skill IG is the one that did the S turn because that's the one that needs to move first to get out the other one's way.
Get out the way.
That's one thing about. I mean, it's one thing if they're asymmetrical with just other cards, but asymmetrical with like VI involved, it does seem like it could be a problem at times not being able to move the 2 of them in the order you want. You do tricks like what you were talking about with yours. or you have like one block the other one or whatever. You know, there's going to be times where you obviously want to move one instead of the other. I mean, if you keep them more or less on opposite sides most of the time, they're nowhere near each other, but it just seems like that would be handy.
You do wonder if people that have these kind of asymmetrical lists, if they basically have a flight plan set out already.
Yeah.
Or at least, like, I'm going to put the VI guy more in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
And the guy that doesn't is going to be skirting the outside.
Well, let's say instead of stay on target, let's say the one that has that had Lone Wolf. Like, then it would be more obvious. Like, you need to keep them apart anyway because of Lone Wolf.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so it wouldn't really matter. So, like, if I was definitely, like, if I, for whatever reason, was going to play one with VI and one without, that would probably be the way I would do it. But I'd still probably just prefer to either play them both with VI or without. Like, you know, to do push limit or whatever else, and just have them be the same.
It's weird to think that it still feels extremely hard to keep the two IGs far away from each other to be able to actually do lone wolves.
Yeah, no, even with the 2-ship build and everything, yeah, exactly. I would just hate to restrict their movement in any way.
Especially if you're fighting, let's say, like a turreted ship, like a aggressor, you want to be focusing your fire.
Yeah.
Basically all the time.
Yeah, and Lone Wolf's just a little bit like that in general. On just about anything you put it on, it just seems like that happens with it.
It just seems a lot better on turret ships because your turret ship could be
can go wherever. You don't have to worry about the arc. Yeah,
completely the wrong way.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's like I would just hate to have to restrict. I mean, you would still they got to do what they got to do. You got to fly them where you got to fly them. You would at that point you'd be better off to probably just ignore Lone Wolf. But then you need to play a different card on there because you're not getting your mileage out of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to replace it because you're like, well, Lone Wolf's relatively cheap for a good reroll.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're already getting the gunner reroll,
auto thrusters, and usually. All right, I think he's doing the right thing here and just kind of playing conservative. Not necessarily like just trying to run away because you killed 12 points, but just like you come in, you're coming in on like your angle, your attack vector or whatever. You're trying to get some shots, but then you end up in a situation where it's like, oh, I'm sitting right in front of 3 Bs. Like you have to just
you can't.
You have to live to fight another day. You're gonna get murdered.
It's not exactly suicidal with IGs, but it's certainly not the best idea.
Yeah.
Just go, I'm gonna fly right now.
I mean, if he didn't do boost there, it's like that's 2 range 1 shots, maybe 3. Yeah, I think that would have been 3 range 1s. I mean, that thing could have taken like 5 or 6 hits in 1 round at least, and be almost dead. So that's another thing with these things. There's a lot of crits that can really hose these things. Oh, so like if you it's one thing to they got 8 health and they die, but man, that 5th or 6th point of damage can be really scary on these things. If it's a bad crit, there's so many that can hose them.
I always discard my secondary with these guys.
I mean, there's that, and that's even probably more painful on the HLC ones, even than it sucks regardless. But you have the Manglers at least.
Yeah.
But
still not getting a gunner.
But like injured pilot, whichever one gets it, both of them lose that ability, and then on top of that, you're losing the card if it's something important.
Yeah, like push.
Yeah. -1 green die just kind of screws up their whole survivability a bit, and especially with auto thrusters and stuff. I mean, there's a ton of them. Hard turns are red is pretty annoying on them actually, especially because that's one that like never goes away.
Yeah.
So then it's like that really limits their options. Another one that never goes away that's annoying is the roll a die to see if you take a damage when you do a red. So every time you just S-loop around. And when I was playing in the tournament, one of my opponents, he had gotten that one on there, like the first point of hull damage, and I did 2 more damage, and one of them was the hard turns are red. So he was technically still alive with 1 hull, but he ended up just conceding because hard turns are red. His whole dial almost was red, and he had to roll to see if he died anyway, and he was like, "There's no way I'm going to catch you."
It's like also you could shoot him again.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of them that are really bad for them.
So he popped a B at the very beginning of the round. That one on the bottom.
Yeah. He had worked that one down a little bit.
And then of course all 3 Bs wailing on him. They net exactly 1 damage.
Yeah, I mean, well that one, they're shooting at him range 3. I think he had the token or whatever, it's a whole different animal getting like range 3 shots on these things instead of 3 range 1s.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a humongous swing. Plus, the target lock is on well, I guess the target lock was on the far one, but.
And then, of course, now on this round, you're like, well, is he going to go left? Is he going to go right? Should I go after the other one if he tries to do like a 4K?
Yeah, it's tough. I think this is where that bottom IG, this is where if he does the S loop to the left, it's just disgustingly nasty. Yeah. Because if one of the bees does like a too hard to the right, something to try to block that, like this is where you do the advanced sensors boost to the left, and then the S loop for the really wide, like 90 degree.
Yeah. Completely whipping.
Yeah, this is where you do that, and it's just disgusting. There's like nothing the bees can do to stop that. I don't know if he will, but that would be nice. That would be funny to see, because that's just these things.
Yeah, it's like their only hope is to try to block the initial boost.
Yeah, because like he's trying to block that guy, and then have the other two gang up on it. But if he pulls off that, I mean, he's gone.
Yeah, he'll have maybe one shot on him. Just that bottom one's angle, he might get a shot on.
Yeah, this middle's bee might be able to block the boost.
Yeah, it's be going like 3 straight and then barrel roll into it.
Yeah, and he was already stressed, so
he's not even doing 3
straight. He couldn't do a 3 bank. Because that's red.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So I think he can't get there. That's another subtle flaw to bee wings that a lot of people miss, especially in this age. Like I'll play against bees and I'll see them. They'll just fly over the debris or whatever. They have to do that, and it's like, I mean, playing anything that you don't want to get blocked. I'm playing dash or whatever, or anybody's playing aggressors or I don't know, a decimator, whatever. You're like, okay, so that's stressed B-wing. So, like you said, all it can do is a 3 straight. It can't do a barrel roll to get in the right spot. It can't do a bank that far. It's just, I don't know. You just know that it can't get there to get you.
IG just putting along.
Yep.
That was kind of the safety play. If he went after him, he was just going to do the one to the left and then boost afterwards.
Yeah.
To get at arcs, but since he didn't, he
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That looked like a boost to the left.
Yeah, boost to the left.
Oh.
No, just
going back in. I guess maybe he thought.
Here's the question: why not stay on target? That you have to stay on target.
Yeah, right. He might have just forgot about it. Is it on that one?
Yeah, because it just went second.
No. The second one to go second is VI.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's never the one in the right situation.
But the other one, he's still not gonna get shot.
Yeah, he's not gonna get a shot, but I mean, he would have been, I guess, trading shots with one of them. But I guess at this point, he doesn't have to kill anything, So there's that. I mean, he's just playing super conservative. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's no MOV. There's no.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even like it's running to the corner of the map or something. I mean, it's right there. It's just a difference between, do I just bonk this guy or do I shoot one-on-one? I might as well just bonk him.
I wonder if he knew he was gonna bonk and he just boosted.
Yeah,
to make sure.
I think so. So his original maneuver was, it was a one bank to the right. The other way was the actual maneuver.
Yeah.
So like if those bees turned and went after the other one, he could just do that.
Yeah.
But then he was like, okay, I can advance sensor and go around them and hit the other one. So
he's trying to cover all the bases.
The IG up top, since it obviously saw where the bees were going, that it maybe could have. Advanced sensor, target lock, stay on target into a K-turn or some sort. But I think I guess he had a 1 locked in. It was like a hard 1 or something. So
yeah, it was.
That's another reason. That's why I don't really like stay on target so much with these. It's like, so you got to have a 3 locked in to be able to.
Yeah, regardless of your.
Yeah. And it's not, you can't do like the navigator combo to try to go crazy with it, and it's not like just
that one
like a beat like Kian Farlander where it's like he can 2K turn or 2 whatever you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interceptor.
Literally does any maneuver.
Yeah, that's sort of like that too. I mean, when Juno Eclipse comes out, she's going to be similar to that too. So, yeah, they have a lot more ways to finagle it.
Probably why he was mentioning that you like
Yeah,
so, like somebody asked him, hey, is staying on target working out for it? And he's like, I haven't had a reason to use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he basically got to have that 3 locked in anyway.
I mean, I've wanted to try it with the hard K turn IG.
Yeah,
but then you're not playing B and C, so it's a hard sell.
Yeah, I saw 1, maybe 2 people that I think there were maybe 2 lists in the whole tournament that they had D instead of C. D's pretty good. He's all right. If you're gonna trade one out, you trade out C for him, and that makes sense. But overall, C is gonna be better. Like you're just gonna you're gonna get those evades like all the time.
There's a thing where it's like maybe they are local players and they're like, well, we see a lot more swarmy lists, so the hard K turns are more useful. Mm-hmm. But then when you add 93 players to the mix, there's not going to be a lot of local.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about IGA that people are like. I mean, most people would probably feel or agree that okay, he's not that great compared to the others. But then they're like, well, yeah, but there's that one time you play against a swarm. If you play against a tie swarm or something out of yesteryear, it'll be great, right?
Yeah.
But even then, it probably only about breaks even with having C or D in his place. Because like, I killed 5 TIE fighters and recovered 5 shields. You probably won that game anyway. But so I did that. Cool. Well, if you had C, you probably would have gotten 5 evades just from boosting over the course of the game. And if you got D in there, you would have arc dodged 5 TIE fighters, by doing a different maneuver than they were expecting or whatever, or avoided getting blocked or whatever. So, yeah, it's like even in the one matchup where you could maybe say something for him, it's about even, more or less. And even if he is slightly ahead in that, it's like then there's the other 5 games you play that day. Where it gets 2 ship builds and stuff.
Yeah, you're like, cool, I destroyed half your squad. 1 shield.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're playing with essentially a blank ship. Leave him in Epic.
No, because it's got the other...
Yeah. I mean, he's not giving anything. But yeah, leave him in Epic where he belongs, where you can get all 4 abilities anyway on 4 ships. So it's going to be funny as if they ever do, way down the line, they have like more pilots for a lot of the existing ships, right? There's like an IGE.
They're not going to do friggin'...
You never know.
Scum Aces IG.
Maybe a box like a bunch of big ship bounty hunters, like another fire spray pilot, another, whatever. I doubt it, but if there's ever an E, then since Epic, whatever an Epic is list is like 200 points or whatever, and you basically only play 4, then no one will play A, and even in Epic he'll get thrown out. There's a lot of ships in Epic, but.
It's like a new title that basically just replaces A's ability with something else.
Right. Okay, so he was...
I think it would have been cool if they made a title that made them solo by themselves pretty good.
Right.
Because you keep seeing people play like 1 and then Boba Fett or 1.
Right, like maybe make a title that just does whatever and actually costs a couple points.
Yeah, but actually makes it does his normal ability and then also this pretty sweet one.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be cool. You never know. They could do that when they make E. Okay. K turned over the rock, it looks like.
Yep, don't care.
Gotta do what you gotta do. That IG is stressed.
Yeah, it's on the space debris.
Clipped it. That kind of tells me, though, that it's just gonna green and boost and get the hell out.
I mean, the question is where the pips are on it. It doesn't look like it from here.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they had a much better perspective of it.
Yeah, I don't think the IG is going over the debris again.
Yeah.
So the top IG is the one that has to move first, right? Because that's what he needs anyway, I think.
Well, and he actually, because he tried to boost to the right.
Yeah.
It's right last round, so he knows he already can't do that.
Yeah.
Because it didn't fit, which is like probably the best thing to do when you're that far out.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't going to get shot at, and you're like, well, might as well test the waters here for soft ones.
Yeah, that is a nice little subtle trick there. Yeah, he so that one could kind of come into fight and just kind of switch places, and the other one could do like a 3 straight to leapfrog it and get out. Or depending on what this one does here, I guess he's just going around too.
If he boosts back the other way, he can probably get that B, which is what he's doing.
Yeah. Okay, so if he's doing that, so now the IG in the middle, he can basically just 3 straight and then boost out. Yeah, if he had to move that one first, if they were flip-flopped and, we're talking about like the kind of the negative aspects of having them, he wouldn't be able to do that, this maneuver here. At 3 straight might have even clipped him. I mean, it would have left him right in that B-Wings arc, maybe
without. He would have to have done like a 2 straight and then maybe boost to the right or something like that.
Yeah, I think he could have done a 1 bank to the right and basically kind of landed right in front of that B-Wing and then maybe just done a straight boost through the gap there and gotten out.
Or at least, if nothing else, gotten out of range of the other 2, so he's only taking one shot.
Yeah, and of course, advanced censoring wasn't an option since he was already stressed from sitting on the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this B-Wing down here is just continuing to, I mean, IG is continuing to whittle down B-Wings. Mm-hmm. Oh, what do you know? Range 3 through a rock. This will work.
Exactly, because the only shots these Bs are getting are these terrible shots.
Yeah. It's going to be 2 range 3s through an obstacle, assuming that other one's even in range. They both have target locks, both of these Bs that could shoot, but that's still brutal.
At this point, you're like, should I spend it anyways? Because I need to push through damage.
Yeah.
Because if you kill one of them, suddenly you're in the lead.
Yeah, it's like, are you going to target lock on, him rolling like 5 greens and having auto thrusters and an evade token, or are you going to hope that you can still somehow catch him and be like, oh, range 1 or 2 shot with focused target lock,
It's just so hard to do because none of his guys are in position to catch him.
And now that a couple of his ships are gone and he has fewer bodies, it just gets harder and harder and harder to do it every time you lose a body. So. And
the problem is neither of the ships of the IGs are low.
And he's playing well with the IGs in the sense that another thing that especially when there are fewer bodies to block with, they have to almost make a mistake and maybe get too aggressive or overconfident in a lot of the situations to kind of walk into getting blocked or whatever. And he's being very patient. James is doing a good job of just kind of hanging on the outside, taking his shots.
Well, you get in such a better position when you're in elimination rounds, because during the tournament you're like, I gotta get 200 points.
Yeah.
I gotta wipe them out, and I gotta lose none of my guys because my MOV is super important.
Yeah.
But now you're like, I could go like 2 guys and it'd be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not really a factor here unless maybe one of the IGs dies or something. But there's a lot of times, not even like I'm trying to maximize as much MOV as possible. But there's a lot of situations where you're up by 7 points. You have to kill something else because a modified win, for purposes of making a cut in these big events now, it's essentially as good as a loss.
Yep.
Like, since you're going to have so many one-loss players or whatever fighting to make, let's say you have 10 or 11 one-loss players and there's only 7 spots available because you got like 1 undefeated at the top for the rest of the top 8, and then it's you're going to have a few that aren't going to make it. So if you have a modified win, you're going to immediately fall to the bottom of that 11 players. And so, like, you can get in with a modified win, but you better be undefeated.
Yep.
If you have like 1 loss and a modified win, you're immediately. That's what happened. I was 12th. I had 2, real like 2 losses, 4 and 2, but I had the highest MOV of all the 4 and 2s. So then the 11th place was like the one loss guy that had a modified win.
Yep. And
then 9th and 10th were straight up 5 full wins, like I said earlier, that just didn't have the MOV. So yeah, it's like, you're right, you need to maximize the MOV, but you might feel like maybe you can edge out 1 or 2 people on that. But yeah, if you're in a Swiss game and you're only up by like, less than 12 points or whatever, you're just like, you have to kill something else without losing something else. Okay, so James is landing in front of the B here and then doing a boost that seems a little questionable, maybe. Yeah.
He's like, I might be an arc to shoot you, Mr. B-Man, and then suddenly I'm not, and you're just going to want me for free.
I mean, we're kind of towards the end of the game here. Maybe, you're just playing a little quick. and thinking that the boost is going to get him a little further to get him all the way around. But I mean, you can see the whole like half a base there.
Yeah, I mean,
the only thing I could think of was like maybe he thought the IG didn't have arc for a shot anyway, and he was just going to evade anyway. And with IGT's ability, that means he might as well just take the boost.
Yeah, but
just to get around.
There's an argument that maybe he's gonna 4K next turn.
Yeah.
Or maybe even S-loop way out there, so he gave himself a better position.
Yeah, you can definitely be thinking ahead's part of this, but he was pretty much in a position to just S-loop anyway. That the bees weren't going to block it anyway.
But just like between dealing damage and not dealing damage is like I would rather risk getting blocked next turn and not attacking either of them shooting at each other, opposed to here's a free pot shot.
Yeah. He did it so quickly that if you were thinking along the lines of, well, maybe I don't have arc and I'm just going to evade, so I might as well boost, like what I was saying. It seems like it was close enough you'd be checking that. It looked like it was part of his plan that he was doing that,
He's like, I'll have it.
So I don't know. I guess we'll see if he does a 4K here, and maybe that was it. But like I said, if he didn't do that boost, he could have just done an S loop anyway.
Yeah. I mean, given him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't just assume that, I can just get out of arc. It's like, because just from where he was, there was like pretty much no way he was going to completely avoid the arc of that bee.
Right. Okay, so these bees are probably getting a little frustrated.
They're basically just, you're like, I'm going to whip out K-turns every other round and hope I get some shots.
They probably have about 15 minutes or so left, right? So, give or take. That one, I guess that barrel roll, is pretty good to try to get arc. But that's the thing. Like, you can't really make a right choice because now it's like, I'll just, like, go faster. I'll boost to get past you.
Yeah.
And if you didn't barrel back, I would just not boost and sit here.
He's covering some pretty decent area on that left one.
It's probably a little better, but okay, this one's going to turn around. And just managed to clear it.
It's a nice little... There's another instance where, yes, he's not focus firing multiple bees, but he's got a large chunk of the map covered, so he's going to have at least one shot. Assuming he doesn't get killed before he shoots.
Right.
Which was probably a concern at this point.
Yeah. And hopefully he's not just, range 3 through a rock.
Which after boosting, it might be.
He's doing a hard turn there. Maybe he wanted to cut in here and he was worried about the B-wing just doing a one straight sitting on him. I don't know. Maybe he was considering doing that K-turn and then, this turn changed his mind,
See, even if he wasn't in, pre-boost from that last round, that B-wing couldn't even K-turn. He would have landed on him from where he was.
I think so, yeah.
I guess that would have forced him the hard turn in his face, and maybe that would have messed up.
Yeah, I still think, even if the B-wing did like a too hard just to block him or whatever, too hard to the B-wings, what was the B-wings left, if you rewind it and look, I still think the S-loop would have cleared that.
And there's the old, if I boost beforehand, I can get out your arc.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. You barrel back, and you're like, well, time to boost and just go faster.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to clip that one, and then the other one's going to shoot the K-turn one. That's pretty dirty.
Yeah, she's playing a little do-si-do with B-wings.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe not. Maybe he got bonked around a little bit.
It did look pretty close as to whether or not he had arc.
Yeah. That's why you got to use lasers. Now, not sure what they're measuring there. There's no lone wolf here.
No, he's seeing if he can clip that one that's back there and not the K-turn one. It might be, maybe he feels that that's the better target.
Oh, right, yeah. I didn't even see that guy. I'm like, wait, what? I thought they were measuring for lone wolf or something when there's no lone wolf. I'm like, what are they doing? That B-wing's just hiding there right next to the... Oh, my goodness, that one's getting slapped around.
So maybe if I ram it enough, it won't fly over that debris.
Yeah. I mean, both those B-Wings are stressed, and, I don't have a focus, whatever. HLC doesn't care about the range. The other one's got a target lock on somebody, I guess. So, if they have about the same health,
Yeah, try to kill the one with the target lock.
Mm-hmm.
But these are extending hand, so it's over.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's what that was like, leave me hanging there, bro.
Yeah, no,
so,
he's like,
I thought they had a little more time
left.
Like,
I want to get my last shot in.
Oh, someone bonking the
yeah, that does happen.
Tripod there.
We have a beast of a tripod.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And check back soon. We will have our top 4 in our finals.